Well, a very good morning to you once again, live from Nasrec at the ANC's National Policy Conference on this day 4. We continue to dissect some of the crucial issues that might come out of this ANC's Policy Conference, and one of the major issues that are expected to be discussed is economic transformation, and I think in particular in a country that has still crippling inequality, the ANC would need to come up with policies to deal with that particular issue. How it plans to grow the economy as well, when you look at youth unemployment, is one of the issues that is on the table. Let me join now the head of that Committee on Economic Transformation, Enoch Godongwana. Thank you very much for your time this morning. Babu Godongwana, within the policy document itself, it does indicate that the structure of the economy needs to change in order for South Africa to achieve that all-inclusive growth. What policies could we look forward to that would change the current status of how the economy looks when it comes to inclusive growth?
The first issue when you talk about structural changes, you've got to look at the changing the nature of the economy in such a manner that you increase the capacity of the productive sectors and grow employment. That's the first structural change that we'll be discussing about. The second structural change is the ownership structure of the economy. In South Africa, the structure of the economy, given our past, is distorted and still reflects the apartheid legacy. One of the structural changes that's got to be talking about. The third element is to what extent can we focus on those areas that are labor absorbing in such a manner that we can be able to absorb unemployed into the labor market. To achieve that, we've got to improve the skills base of the economy in focusing in particular on those what we call the NETs, not in employment, not in education, not in training.
Youth unemployment is one of those particular aspects. It's still one of the sticking points for one of the achievements that the ANC still needs or is still grappling with. Part of that document speaks to getting Labour and government at least to provide about 1 million internships to ensure that you deal with the issue of youth unemployment. What could possibly come out of this conference that could deal with that issue? When you speak about youth unemployment, you still got a huge chunk of young people who are still unable to get into the job market.
We are placing before conference proposals that focus on how to deal with the youth unemployment. The first thing that we need to achieve is a common appreciation that this is a challenge, and all of us we should not be sleeping well in given the rate of unemployment in our economy, in particular youth unemployment. So we're putting proposal before conference for consideration to deal with that issue.
If you look at the NDP, Chapter 4, and if we look at dealing with the specific issue of unemployment, saying that, you need to be close to full employment by 2030, how does the ANC plan to achieve that? The reason why we're sticking to the issue of unemployment, it seems to be one of the major issues when we're looking at the economic growth in the last quarter. It does give a very bleak picture. And how could you achieve that in an economy at this stage? How does it affect that plan if you look at a country that's in a technical recession?
The NDP provides us with a vision, and it gives us what we call aspirational targets. Where we should be heading to. In the process of that, the headwinds, the speed bumps, which make it difficult for you to get to aspirational targets, I would be misleading you to say that by 2030 we would have achieved that target. However, part of the discussions that we should be engaging on over the next 2 days, but by the way, we're starting the sectoral commissions today, and the Economic Commission starts this morning at 9 a.m. So key focus should be on how to deal with these questions and reverse the sluggish growth.
Opening up the industry is one of those issues. I recall last night speaking to the Black Business Council, and one of the issues that they mentioned is that exactly what you spoke to, the fact that you still have the economy which is in the hands of the white minority, and it doesn't seem that black business has the opportunity to even open the door when it comes to black business doing business. Apart from changing the structure of the economy, what perhaps would be put on the table to ensure that black business on its own is able to enter the market itself, which has predominantly been dominated by white business over the years?
Stripped of all jargon, one of the key constraints to black economic empowerment is funding. We may fight all over other things. You may have as many targets as you want. If you do not have the money to fund empowerment, you are going to have a challenge.
But that would need a complete overhaul when it comes to the financial sector.
I'm coming to that point. Clearly, we have been engaging with industry, particularly myself and the Treasurer General. And those discussions have yielded important results. Among other things, for instance, you heard the auto sector says they're going to put about 20 billion rand. You had the financial sector announcing that they will be putting about 120 billion rand. Clearly, what we need to be focusing on, have serious discussion and make strategic choices and say, how are we going to finance transformation in this country? My choice of word is deliberate. I said transformation, not empowerment. Because that's what we should be talking about, transformation, including how do you finance education, how do you finance skills, how do you finance changing into the change in our society.
Unfortunately, that's all we have time for at this time. I understand that we need to move to other things. But Enoch Godongwana is the head of that committee on economic transformation, just some of the serious issues pertaining to the economy which will be discussed here this morning. Let's take a short ad break here on Morning Live. We'll be back straight after that.
So much to our reporter there, Criselda Louis, live from Nasrec here in Johannesburg. Quite interesting. I know you were away, but quite interesting discussions that came from the policy conference over the weekend. So, yeah,
it's nice to see and catch up. I must say, I'm enjoying the analysis that's coming through. But also in the next hour, I think we're going to have a lot more to talk about, because I'm seeing on our lineup we've got Lindiwe Sisulu, who's the Minister of Human Settlements. She's expected to be talking to Criselda, and then after that we've got Minister Batipile Dlamini, and I'm believing. I was just reading a couple of just articles coming out over the weekend, particularly with reference to the ANC Women's League and a move to bring some men into the policy
because
discussions.
Women are too emotional.
Well, there is a big question, and I do hope that Criselda touches on that one, because I think that hit a bit of a nerve with a lot of women that were reading that. But let's find out the rationale behind it, all of this and more in the next hour on Morning Live. We take a break. We'll see you at 7 for the news.